Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. I'm going to give everyone a few moments to log on and join us before we get started. All right. Happy Thursday. My name is Kara Heifel, and I'm with the Illinois Restaurant Association, and thank you for joining us today. Today's webinar is on applying for the 2023 SOURCE grant and what you need to know for these applications. During today's webinar, we'll hear from experts at the Cook County Bureau of Economic Development and the Women's Business Development Center. Today's webinar is being broadcast in English, Spanish, as well as Mandarin Chinese. If you'd like to use this option, please go to your toolbar for the interpretation function. Also, please use the Q&A button in your toolbar to post your questions, and we will do our best to get to all the questions that anyone has. And if you already see a question in your toolbar that you like and you want that asked, please give it a thumbs up so we can be sure to prioritize those things. And I'm going to hand it over to the real expert on the Cook County Small Business Source. Please take it away, Dominique, for introducing what the Cook County Small Business Source is.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Dominique Gamble. I am the program manager for the Cook County Small Business Source. Can we go to the next slide, Kara? Thank you. So just a little bit about the source before I hand it over to Abby and she gets started on all the nooks and crannies of our new 2023 SOURCE grant that we just dropped. So some people may have heard of us, some may have not, but just a quick overview. The Cook County Small Business Source is a one-stop shop is what we like to call it. We work with small businesses in every age and stage of your business. We were created, as you can see here, to help support, grow, and elevate small businesses by providing you no-cost small business advising, resources, as well as events. Those events can be in-person events. We do host a number of webinars. You can find events on our website, which I'll give you when I'm done, and just go to our events page where you can connect with wonderful business service organizations that we partner with, such as Women Business Development Organization, as well as Illinois Restaurant Association, which is also one of our partners. So with the one-on-one advising, we assist you with whatever assistance your business may need. I like to tell people the strength of the source is actually our partnerships that we created. We work with 11 of the top business service organizations throughout the city and throughout Cook County, who will actually be the ones who will be providing the one-on-one services that you would need for your business. We also provide a host of resources as well as information that you would need, whether it's trying to create a business, business plan, a marketing plan, social media plan, whatever it is. Our business service organizations are very versed in everything that you would need to help get you going and also to help take you to the next level. We already discussed events, which is what you're attending now, which is one of our webinars with regards to information about the source. We do host these throughout the year, so we do ask that you stay connected. If you could just go back one slide for me, Kara. So just to give you a little insight as to the source, we have been up and flourishing since COVID, working since 2019 to help keep businesses up and thriving and going. Since then, these numbers have changed. We have helped over 14,000 businesses right now we have reached. We have supplied over 17 million in grants, which will be more once we finish this SOURCE grant we've just opened. And as you can see, 66% of the business that we worked with have been in underserved communities. So we have assisted and helped over 66 businesses, which are people of color, and 55%, I believe now might be up to 60, closer to 60% are women-owned businesses and 76% are micro businesses. So we are looking to increase these numbers. We are looking to do even more work within the community. We have increased our reach with our BSOs and now referral partners for the grant. And we look forward to working with you. If you have any questions, you can, or if you'd like to stay connected to us, you can go to our website, cookcountysmallbiz.org. You can sign up for our newsletter where you can stay up to date with up and coming events or just anything that's coming up with the source. You can also sign up for small business advising through the source as well. And that's how you'll be able to work with one of our wonderful 11 BSO partners. But if you're here, you're probably already working with the IRA, so which is great. And I'll pass it over to you, Abby. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dominique. Abby, take it away for the topic of the day.
All right, so good morning, everybody. Again, I'm Abby Scanlon. I am the Director of Access to Capital at the Women's Business Development Center. And I'm happy to share this information with all of you because I'm sure it's coming at a good time to get you that money. So just a quick overview, the Cook County grant, it's a fund of about 40 million in grants. And it's coupled, as this slide is saying here, with no cost advising, which is exactly what Dominique was talking about, right? So hopefully, all of you do take advantage of meeting with the IRA because they are an awesome partner of ours. But just overall, so this grant will hopefully provide some capital, so basically cash, to small businesses within Cook County. But then additionally too, like I mentioned, there is no cost advising and coaching services for all of our Cook County small businesses. So please take advantage of both, everybody. And then in terms of prioritization for the grant, right? Again, these funds were created to help businesses that potentially are still kind of recouping from, the consequences of the pandemic, right? So this is from the American Rescue Plan Act that Biden had released back in 2021, I believe was the year. But yeah, this is where these funds are stemming from. And so it is to hopefully provide some much needed money for post pandemic, utilization. So, all right. So we do have a little bit of prioritization, like I said, or focused industries for this grant. We are looking at industries that are hard hit by COVID, and those are arts and entertainment, childcare and social assistance, hospitality, food, and tourism, and that's hopefully you folks here, and then retail, trade, transportation, and warehousing. The other thing that's a part of this as well is that there will be a bigger focus on businesses that are in suburban Cook County, okay? So it's not that we're not gonna give any money to the city of Chicago businesses, but there will be a little bit of a focus on suburban Cook County. And then additionally, there's going to be $500,000 allocated to businesses that identify themselves as veteran-owned businesses. So there is a question on the application, everybody, that asks you that. So please, please, please make sure that you answer that so that we can categorize you correctly. There are two types of grants, all right, that's going to be released, and that's based off of the revenue of the business of 2019. Okay, so whatever you reported in 2019, that's how we're going to determine how large your grant is going to be. So if in 2019 you reported as your gross revenue $20,000 to $50,000, you would be eligible for a $10,000 grant. Okay. If your gross revenue was anything more than $50,000, you would be eligible for $20,000 in grants. Okay. So again, that's off of your 2019 taxes. All right. So this is just another breakdown of what I just discussed, right? There's two pools of money. There's going to be 10 million dedicated to the $10,000 grant and 30 million dedicated to the $20,000 grant. Okay. So let me just start with the 10,000. Okay. So again, it's a $10,000 grant. There'll be 1,000 awards given. And then again, to reiterate, it's 2019 gross revenue between 20,000 to 50,000. And then for the bucket of, or for the grant size of 20,000, it's 1,500 awards. And again, it's gross revenue over 50,000 in 2019. Now for both buckets of money, we are looking for a business size of less than 20 full-time employees. Okay, and how do we define 20 full-time employees? typically that would be, everybody, not your 1099 contractors, not your part-time individuals. These are, in fact, your full-time W-2 employees that do between 30 to 40 hours, okay? So I know a lot of you being in, perhaps the restaurant industry and et cetera, probably have these fluctuating numbers, but we're really only looking at, your full-time employees that are W-2'd and doing 30 to 40 hours, okay? Just so everybody knows, this is an attestation. We are not asking for documentation for this. Okay, let me reiterate that again. We are not asking for any level of documentation for this. You will answer a question on the application and also attest that all the information is true to your knowledge. So want to throw that out there. All right, so business location. Let's move on to that. So all businesses, because this is a grant provided by Cook County, the business must operate in Cook County. So a lot of times people get really confused about this question. We have to show and prove, or you all have to show and prove that you actually operate in Cook County. So I'm going to give you a few examples, right? Because we do have some variability out there. So for instance, if you in 2019 did not operate in Cook County, but moved to Cook County in 2022, and you're currently in Cook County, you would also be eligible. Okay, so even if in 2019 you weren't in Cook County but moved into Cook County, you would be eligible now. All right, you would just have to prove to us that you do operate here within Cook County, within one of our zip codes here. Now, if you're a business that moved out of Cook County, within these last few years, unfortunately, you would not be eligible because, again, these funds are being dispersed by the county, and we want to, encourage economic development and have impact within this particular county. Okay. So want to make sure too, because this gets a little confusing when it comes to the industries. All industries are eligible for the most part, right? And I'll get to the ineligible ones in a bit, but most industries will be eligible, but we do have some focused businesses, and those are the ones that I'd gone over earlier, which are the COVID impacted industries. And I'll go over that again. It's your arts and entertainment, childcare and social assistance, hospitality, food and tourism, retail trade, transportation, and warehousing. Okay. And then again, veterans will get about $500,000 dedicated to them by the program across the board. So some other eligibility requirements, we do want to make sure that these funds do go to for-profit businesses. So unfortunately, if you're a nonprofit currently, you would not qualify. Businesses, again, must be located in Cook County. Going back to that eligibility and size of the business question, again, it's less than 20 full-time employees, or another way to say it is 19 or less. Okay. And then there's another question on the application, everybody, that talks about, experiencing a negative impact during COVID. So that's, a little bit subjective. So as long as you feel that you experience some level of decrease in revenue or gross receipts, or you had increase in costs, or felt some level of, financial insecurity during COVID, then, that does deem you, as having been negatively impacted during COVID. Okay. Again, this is going to be a question that you will attest to. I can't remember the exact question, but this is something you're attesting to. We're not going to necessarily be asking you for receipts and all of that as a check. And then also to demographics, all owners, all demographics. Okay. And then you must be also currently operating, right? So if at any point you did close your business or you are closed, unfortunately, again, you will not be eligible. You need to show us and prove that you're still in operation. And then let's see, I'm just trying to think here. Businesses, yeah, businesses that meet the above criteria. Oh, so if you've applied for other grants in the past and you have been awarded, funds from previous pandemic programs, that's okay. We're fine with that. You're still eligible to potentially be awarded this grant as well too. We're not gonna, take you out of the reviews or the pool just because you've won some additional funds previously. All right, go ahead and go to the next question, Kara. Thank you so much. So this timeline, everybody, this is just kind of showing everybody, what the timeline of the grant will be. Again, we did have our announcement already on July 19th. The portal opened July 20th. So applications are now open and available. Can definitely share the link with all of you. The portal closing, however, so this is a little bit of a change, so please make a note of this. The application close will actually be August 25th at 11:59. Okay, so don't look at that August 18th date. It will actually be August 25th, 2023, not the 18th. Now, that doesn't mean we want all of you to be applying on August 25th, right? Because we all know how this works. Technology is great, but technology also shuts down when you all want to be on that page at the same time, right? So take your time. As we always say, give us a completed application, but try to get it in before then, right? You don't want to feel that pressure too. We don't want you to feel pressured, but get the help. Get the help. All right. So another thing you want to take a note of, we'll be doing the reviews for this grant until the end of the year. We'll have a list hopefully finalized before the year is out, so around November, and then funds will be distributed January of 2024. Okay. Now I want everybody to also note this as well too, because these funds are considered taxable, and therefore you will receive a 1099 for this business, or we will be reporting to the IRS that you receive these funds, but it'll be going towards your 2024 income. Okay, so just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. Go ahead and go to the next slide. These are all our lovely partners, everybody. Like I said, take your time completing it. If this, webinar is still confusing to you and you still want that, extra hand holding, please come see all of us or any one of us. Do whatever you want, but just get the help is what we always say. Great partners, IRA being one of them. Such an awesome team here. Do love them. So go see them, have them help you out. Phone a friend, do whatever, but just make sure your application's good to go so that you don't miss out on the funds. Next slide. Okay, really quick too, I just want to go over the required documentation. So this is going to be a little bit different too, because we did have some feedback out there. So I'm going to go over the first thing, which is the ID. We do need a valid form of ID, everybody. So please pick from this list here. Don't get creative, is what I tell everyone. Stay within these guidelines and you can't go wrong, right? Over the years, we've seen quite an array of things, but please, we don't want to have to what we call pend your application because you gave us some weird kind of ID. Just give us what you see here and you should be golden. Also to just make sure your document copy or your ID copy is a pretty clear picture. We always like to make sure we can read it. And then additionally, make sure it's not an expired ID. Right? I know the state of Illinois now provides for temporary driver's licenses, like a gray temporary card, and then they punch your driver's license, right? So if you are in that situation and you're waiting, because now they mail it to you too, right? They mail your permanent ID to you. If you're in that situation, I always recommend just show us send us the punched ID and the temporary ID so we know that you're waiting. That's always kind of a good workaround, as a substitute for your temporary or your permanent ID that's on the way. But please provide, like I said, like a valid form of ID that is not expired. And it's within these guidelines. Okay, so this is the part that's changed a little bit. Here on this slide, you're going to see 2019 federal tax return as well as your 2022 federal tax return. 2019 federal tax return has not changed. We still want that for all of our businesses. You know, if you're a corporation or an LLC that files as an S corp or a C corp, we want your 1120. If you're a partnership, which I think a lot of you are out there as restaurateurs, if you got a 1065, we want that with your K1s. Now, if you're a sole prop business and or I should say not or and if you're a sole prop business or a single member LLC, everybody, you typically will file a Schedule C for your business. I want to remind everyone that we want all your pages, okay? Don't just give us your Schedule C. Please ensure you provide all pages of your 1040 plus your Schedule C. And that actually goes for all of the returns. We want all the pages of all of your returns. Don't leave out a page. Even if you have a page that says this page left intentionally blank, we want that too, okay? We use this to, again, like check your gross revenue. So please make sure you're providing all of those pages for your 2019 tax return. Now your 2022 tax return, if you have filed it, fantastic, greatly appreciated, as well as the IRS. But if you did file an extension, okay, this is where it changes a little bit, everyone. If you filed an extension in lieu of that 2022 tax return, what we are going to accept now is a copy of the extension and your business license, right, to show that you are currently in operation, okay? So please make sure you provide your 2022 tax return, or, and it's 2 documents, right? The extension and the business license, okay? Again, we want all pages of this. And I'm trying to think what else. Yep, that's it really. That's really what I want you all to know. I always tell everybody, people leave out pages. It gets very confusing, but we want all the pages of your taxes. Oh, and the reason that we want your 2022 taxes is to just show that you're currently operating. So again, your business license is going to be sufficient for that. And then W-9, right? Again, this money is taxable. So W-9, you will be required to submit that. Make your lives easy, everybody. Use within the application, there's a link to what we call DocuSign, and it's another platform that you can use to complete your W-9. Easy peasy. Right? I think that's the best way to do it. Use that and then submit that, complete that actually before you start the application to make it easier for yourself. Again, it's within the green space of the application, but use that link, complete it. We don't want to see expired W-9s. And we also want to make sure that those W-9s are signed by the owner, not your accountant, not your office manager, but by one of the owners, okay? So again, make your lives easy, do the DocuSign, you can't go wrong. One last thing that we're looking for, and that is whether or not your business is in good standing with the state of Illinois, right? So, you know, we want to know that you've got all your documents in a row. So this is one of the pieces, right? We want to make sure that you're still in good standing with the state of Illinois. This is also a super easy process. You just go to the Secretary of State website, pull up your good standing, you know, find your business within the search, pull up your good standing, and then do a print to PDF or a screenshot of that page, and you're good, right? You want to make sure that it says active or in good standing, one of those two. If it says something different, then check with your accountant or somebody or whoever you gave, you know, that responsibility to, or maybe it was just you. But just make sure it's one of those two things, good standing or active, and you're good to go. We don't want you purchasing any certificates of good standing or anything like that. A screenshot is completely sufficient, everyone. So hopefully, you know, you're not spending any extra dollars just for this. Just couple like really quick tips for this. Make sure your business address definitely shows in some way, shape, or form that you're in Cook County. If you have a a tax document that does not show, because we know sometimes like the tax documents have X's over the full EIN or socials on these documents, please provide us with some kind of backup documentation so that we can actually see what the full EIN and social is. We'll need to verify that information. So I always say your EIN confirmation letter is a good one to have. Go dig that up. I know all of you have it when you first, open the business, but that's another great documentation just to have on hand. Make sure your first sale of the business is before 2020, because that is a question on the application. And then number of full-time employees, you just want to make sure you're within the guidelines. Now, this is important, right? This is your NAICS code. This is what identifies the activity for your business, okay? Make sure that you are showing your correct NAICS code, right? Or that you submit the correct NAICS code for your business. I was with another business owner the other day, and we just did a quick check before we submitted the application on the NAICS code that their that their accountant had put in, and it said that they were a tortilla manufacturing company. Everybody, they were not a tortilla manufacturing company, let me tell you. So it's very surprising to see that. Did not even know that had a NAICS code of its own, but there is one out there for it. So double check your NAICS code. Don't be a tortilla manufacturing company unless in fact you are a tortilla manufacturing company, okay? So just double check that, that you have the correct one, and you can, if you do a search on your taxes, it's listed typically as your business activity, okay? Just do a quick search, you can find it under activity. And then the other thing about the application that we do ask is your bank information. So just make sure that that matches all of your other documentation, like the name, and you have the correct information. For all of you sole proprietors out there, I always tell everyone, let your bank know that perhaps, you are going to be receiving these funds or potentially receiving some grant funds, because sometimes they kind of see that come through your account and they wonder what it is. But overall, these are, really, really easy things to do for the application. Get the help you need. There's a ton of people out there ready to help you. Everybody, this is the page that we were talking about when it comes to all of the attestations for the application. We wanted to make the application super easy for all of you. So again, this is what you're attesting to. 1, that you're the owner. 2, this might be, tough for some of you, but, if you are an employee of Cook County or if family members and et cetera, unfortunately, you will not be able to take advantage of this application. We do check, right? Dominique can agree with me on this. We do check. So don't think you might be able to slip in there. They do check for that. You're also attesting, again, that you are in operation, that you are a for-profit business, that you made your first sale in 2020, and that your business was negatively impacted by COVID. Again, it doesn't mean that you had, fluctuations in your gross revenue. It could just mean a lot of different things. I just say apply, and why not? All right. And then you are also going to attest that you're going to use the money for capital needs, right? Like you're not going to go take a vacation to Hawaii or, the Bahamas or anything like that. You're going to really use it for the business. Okay. Unless it's a business related expense to the Hawaiis, right? Then, that's awesome. But, hopefully it's all related to the business. And again, other attestations on here, you're operating in Cook County, you have less than 20 employees that are full-time. This is another one too. You don't have any other tax liens or judgments against the business, and that you're not currently going under bankruptcy, okay? And then that final one here is that, to the best of your knowledge, all of this is true and accurate. So hopefully, again, that all that is good. So here, everybody, are just the examples of our target industries, the ones that are that we deemed as highly impacted by COVID. So there should be a list out on our website. Again, we'll share this information with you, I'm sure, but check it out. Make sure your NAICS code is good. And, if you are within these industries, make sure you let us know that. Next slide, Kara. Okay, so I did mention we were going to go over ineligible businesses. So these are the businesses that unfortunately, again, most businesses are eligible, but these are the ones that are ineligible. Okay, and so these would be businesses that are engaged, that are, have activities that are federally prohibited, right? So, you know, I think you know who you are. I don't necessarily have to go through that, right? And then also too, majority of your income is really coming from, leasing a property, or you have rental income. Those aren't really necessarily deemed eligible for this grant. And then also to businesses that are teaching, instructing, counseling, or indoctrinating religion or religious beliefs, government-owned entities, political entities or lobbying activities, wholesale tobacco products, liquor, manufacturing of firearms, retail, cannabis businesses, nightclubs, gambling, and employment agencies. And then again, everyone, I know I went over a lot of information, but there is help. If by chance you still have a question that you are not able to get answered here, we do have an awesome email link here, or email address here that you can use. Just go ahead and drop a note in there, and we'll be sure to get back to you through that. We also have office hours, pop-up sessions, a whole bunch of different events going on out there. So please check it out, come and see us. And that's all I have, Kara. So do you want to go to Q&A?
Yeah, thank you so much, Abby. This was a lot
Yeah.
of information, but as you mentioned, there are other options for us to get to the Q&A now, and afterwards, everyone will get this slide deck as well as our contact information. So if we don't get to you, we are happy to be a resource as always. Dominique, did you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly follow up with everything that Abby stated. The good thing as far as us having all these webinars and in-person events, all the documentation that Abby stated that you will need to supply in order to apply for the grant needs to be done in one swoop. You do not have the ability to save and redo this grant. So I just wanted to emphasize that. Please make sure that when you get started, you have all your documentation ahead of time. We will not be able to add anything to your documents. I know we received those emails. You will have to complete a totally new application if you forget something. And we don't have the ability to go back and contact and say, hey, you're missing this, or so please do. If you need to work with IRA, that's what they're there for. And again, you saw our list of all of our partners. If they're busy, we have a ton of people who can assist you with doing this one-on-one, but please do make sure you have gathered all of the needed documentation before you get started. That's all I wanted.
Thank you. That's actually a very good point. So with the questions that we have in the chat so far, the first question is about when a business opened, and if they opened in 2020, are they eligible, Abby?
So if you opened in 2020, more than likely you don't have revenue from 2019, and then would not be able to provide 2020 or 2019 taxes. So you know what, let me just remind everybody too, I just remembered this, and I apologize I didn't say this during the presentation, but your business had to have revenued at least 20,000 at the very minimum in order to qualify for this. Okay, again, this is money that's replacing revenue that was lost, and so we do have a minimum threshold for you to qualify for this. So I think that kind of answers a lot of times the question about opening in 2020 and all the tax questions and stuff for 2019. But yeah, if you had to have at least shown at 20,000 for 2019.
And I think you just answered the second question here in the chat about taxes for 2019. And the next question is, if they started in 2019 and didn't quite gross 20,000, are they eligible for the 10,000 version of the grant?
No, unfortunately, again, it's that threshold of 20,000.
Okay, thank you. And so next question that we have here is what if you had an extension in 2022 in your tax returns?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So for those, again, for those folks that do have an extension right now, Please, when you submit your documentation, we just need to see your business license and the extension. So you need to prove to us that you actually did file for the extension. You didn't just declare you were going to extend your taxes, right? Because that happens too. We get it. So we need to see those two documents in lieu of your 2022 taxes.
Got it. Thank you. And so the next question is on headcount and employees. And a lot of restaurants do fluctuate on their headcount and employees and part-time and full-time. How do you determine that? And is it the latest payroll run? And what is the headcount qualifications for this?
So again, it's based off of your 2019 employee count, and it's just your W-2 employees. I would say, I know you guys fluctuate a little bit, but I would just say it's an attestation question. So you guys are going to know that more than we do. We're not checking it. So it's just the honor system. I don't know. I don't know how best to answer that. But when you are thinking about it, in 2019, did you have less than 20 employees, meaning 19 or less, full-time, between 30 to 40 hours of W-2 employees?
Okay, thank you. That actually clarifies a lot. It's an honor, it's an attestation. It's not, you don't have to provide all the EINs for people. Thank you. And then next question we have is, they started in 2019 and their gross revenue was around 19,000. Does that disqualify them?
I'm gonna say no, yes. A lot of times, even your accountants will round up your gross revenue and such. So yeah, I'm gonna say yes to that question. And knowing the audience that we're talking to today, everybody, but also being someone that does, access to capital, and I teach about financial, operations and et cetera for all of my business owners. This is why you need to track your cash. So I'm just throwing that out there for all of you, because I know cash is not always documented. So please, moving forward, maybe track your cash for your sales and gross receipts.
Okay, thank you. And so the next few questions actually are on ownership and who needs to be on all the documentation. So if you have a restaurant that is co-owned by two people, does the owner listed on the application need to match the W-9?
I would say yes, because we do kind of wonder why one owner signed the W-9 and then the other owner applied, what's going on here, right? Consistency would be great. The other thing I always tell everybody too is just kind of make sure that you're showing up on, because again, we're asking for you all to check your good standing. Make sure you're actually listed as an owner on the Secretary of State website, or you're on a K-1 or whatever the case is, right? But yeah, if one of you is filling it out, then, just follow through with the whole application. Also be the person that signs the W-9.
Got it. Thank you. So next question is about changing ownership. And I think you kind of answered this, but if the business was open before 2019 and then in 2020 it was taken over, how do you apply for that, and does it matter?
So there is, and this is what I tell everybody all the time, is there is a free form question that's on the application. So if something, wonky happened between 2019 till now, use that as your platform to tell the reviewer what exactly happened. So let's just say I bought the business from Kara, who owned the business in 2019. You can say that, right? I've obtained taxes from previous owner Kara, who's showing on, the taxes, and now I am the current owner, which is reflected on the Secretary of State website, whatever, right? It doesn't have to be a dissertation, but just a little bit of information to let us know what exactly happened. Okay, so I could tell everybody, just use that space, or even if your NAICS code is wrong, oh, somebody said I was a tortilla business and I'm not, I'm, I'm a daycare. I don't know why my accountant did that, right? And then, just proving, like maybe sending in your license or showing that you're an actual daycare. I always just tell everybody, like, whatever you think might look a little strange, it doesn't hurt to send additional stuff. It's not required, but if you think that there's some strangeness or some wonkiness about your application, why not just provide that? And then that way we don't have to, reach out to you, because, we're probably going to get more applications as we get to the newer extended closing date of the application. So, we don't always get a chance to do a second review. And so that's why I tell everybody, do it right the first time. We really only look at complete applications. And if you can tell us a story and we understand that story and we can prove that story within the documents that you provided, you're in good shape. I know I kind of answered that question and then kind of broader question, but yeah, I just like to remind everybody, use that as a platform.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is good information, because a lot of people are having the same questions about ownership and headcount. And to your point earlier, it is full-time employees, but it's an attestation, and, be honest about it, but you don't have to, include everyone's EIN there. So next question, is the headcount, it's not by EIN, right? Or license, it's just an attestation?
Correct.
Okay.
We're not asking for any documentation.
Got it. So payroll, you don't need to run that either. And so if someone bought a restaurant in 2021, can they use the tax in 2019? This is kind of the same question you covered. Okay.
Yeah, and I get this question a lot too, since we're kind of talking about ownership still. If you sold the business since 2019, so in Kara's example, so Kara sold the business to me. Kara cannot apply for the grant, everybody. Like, I have to apply for the grant. She can't apply just because she had the business in 2019. Again, we really want it, to be applied to the current business owner and to the current operations of the business. So yeah, that comes up a lot too.
Okay, thank you. And so if they are family owned and operated and there are no W-2s issued, are they still eligible?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
That is common. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so if you're one person, can you apply for two different businesses for different grants?
Great question. Yeah, so you can apply. So if you're, a multi-entrepreneur, right? Like you never sleep, right? And you've got all these businesses, you can apply for all of your businesses, okay? As long as they met all of the eligibility requirements. But here's the thing, we do only award one of your businesses. So only one award will go to one business owner. Okay, so if we see that you've got multiple applications within the system, and we do check for that, right? We'll only award one of your businesses the funds.
That is actually a very good question. So if you can apply for multiple businesses, right? But you can only get one. So if you have three businesses, apply for all three and maybe you get one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like a raffle, maybe. Lucky you lost sleep because you're a multiple entrepreneur, but hey, maybe you'll win one of the grants.
And the next question is what is the closing date?
So to reiterate, everyone, it's going to be August 25th, 11:59.
Okay.
But don't be on there at 11:50, right? We all talked.
Yeah, it's like you can't file for an extension on this one.
Right.
Exactly. Like you can on your taxes. We do accept that. Great. This has been super helpful. I don't see any more questions currently in the chat, and I appreciate everyone's time today. But if you have questions later for everyone on this webinar, please do reach out to us or go to the website, call us, or pop into one of our events. We're here as a free resource to help you with these grants and free business advising in general. And so without further ado, I just want to thank Dominique and Abby for your time today, as well as everyone that was on this webinar. We have many free resources here, and I also remain a resource, not quite an expert like Abby or Dominique, but we do have free resources. So please keep in touch. Cook County Small Biz with a Z.org, and also IllinoisRestaurants.org is a free resource as well. And you will be getting an email shortly with this entire recording and the slide deck. If you have any questions before they close on August 25th, please let us know. And without further ado, I hope everyone has a good day. Thanks, Abby. Thanks, Dominique.
Great. Thank you, Kara.
Thank you guys.
Have a great one. Good luck.
Yeah.